People always ask me, do I think they can climb Everest? I am here today to talk to you about the biggest obstacle you will ever face. Let me take you on a journey. They ask me, what's the secret? How could I take such an unconventional path? And how could I do these things at such a tender age? I could give you a long story, a list of setbacks. How did I break down? How did I cope up? And what thoughts came to me? But if I had to put it in one word, and for everybody, it's grit. It's the desperation to move ahead. Even when you fail, you will stand up for yourself. Even when there is nobody to support you, you will support yourself. But you need to have that willpower first, everything else next. I'm not here to give you some 7 steps. I don't have any brilliant how to's, and I don't have a magic formula for change. I have a story about walking it all the way through. 10 years ago, I started assembling and selling computers at the age of 15 when I met a group of doctors who took me for a hike to a nearby wildlife sanctuary where I train every day now. They also invited me for a trek to Everest Base Camp, which I couldn't afford. Back then, I was not into outdoors and I didn't even know the basic meaning of things like base camp or summit and the difference in between. Then I got into engineering and I was busy chasing materialistic goals while enjoying my teenage life. In 2015, when I got introduced to backpacking and explorations, I knew I would climb Everest one day, which is probably every mountaineer's dream. Who doesn't want to experience the journey to the highest point on earth and witness the view from the top of the world? I didn't know when I would achieve it, but I was ready to work towards it. I also knew it is not going to be easy, neither physically nor financially, and most importantly, emotionally. It takes 50 to 65 days for an expedition to Mount Everest and at least a few years to prepare for the same. And every year, 10 to 15 climbers lose their lives at Everest based on their decision making. So I wanted to prepare well to make sure that I have a higher success ratio and also to improve my safety while also being able to enjoy the climb much more. I had to make endless sacrifices starting with my social life. I spent most of my time training and preparing for Everest, and everything I did in life was around Everest. I sent out 1,000 emails to possible sponsors, and 10 of them got back to me. One of them set up a call. So 1 is to 1,000 is the ratio you are fighting against. And we all have these challenges that we never wanted. These are the things that are helping us to grow and to develop by being more creative. Because we all can do much more than we think we can, but don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. So, what door opens, you are not sure. What connects where, you are not sure. The only thing you can do is keep knocking on every door that comes on your path. We have full control of our choices to keep moving forward. We have reservoirs of untapped potential to achieve great things. The only thing standing in our way are our own minds. Self-limiting beliefs are the biggest impediment to success. I was all set to climb Everest in 2020, and just 15 days before the expedition, there was a pandemic declared. Travel restrictions came in, and then there was lockdown. I was devastated and sluggish, but eventually I ended up completing a solo Ironman 70.3 distance triathlon in blistering October heat. I did it on World Mental Health Day to create awareness about mental health issues which all of us were facing during the pandemic. What made me successful was grit. Grit is passion and perseverance for long-term goals. Grit is having stamina. Grit is putting in and day out, not just for weeks or months, but for years for your long term goal. Grit is living life like it's a marathon, not a sprint. It sounds easy when I say it, but in practice, in principle, everything around you will try to stop you. Your colleagues, your partner, your friends, your family will say, "Stop this madness." Let alone them, but you yourself will ask to stop being stupid and go back to what the norm is. 99% of you will quit there. The 1% who do not, who will still be crazy to keep knocking on that door, are the ones who will make it. What I have also realized is that when you take up such a goal, there are a lot of struggles and sacrifices which come along with it. But don't think of struggle as a challenge. Struggle is an opportunity. With struggle, you can go very far, and without struggle, you cannot achieve true success. I started my Everest expedition on 31st March 2021. Everything was going great. 40 days into the expedition, we received a weather forecast indicating 4 days of clear weather window, ideal for the summit push. Just few hours before I was leaving for the summit, my worst nightmare came true. I tested positive for COVID. That too at a place where there is lack of oxygen, your body is under stress, there is no infrastructure, no communications, and even choppers cannot fly above a certain altitude to rescue from your higher camps. So it was obvious that I cannot continue my summit bid. In the days following that, I made thousands of choices and decisions while staying in isolation and consulting doctors. The international team that I was leading made it to Camp 4 but had to abandon their summit bid due to an unprecedented storm. Two people lost their lives while returning from the summit that night, and I also lost a friend that week who was my personal Sherpa at an earlier expedition and had already climbed Everest 5 times, even this year. The only thing one has control is their attitude and their effort towards adversity. Adversities can be different for everyone. The list is endless. Getting COVID despite the jab and precautions, countries cancelling travel, flight delays, someone beating my records are things I can't control. Happy adventurers aren't the ones with the fewest problem. They are just the ones with positive attitude and better coping strategies. 11 days later, I got a foot in the door opportunity during which we made it to Camp 4. We started our summit push around 9:40 pm and the weather wasn't great. In fact, very windy. Me and my Sherpa had to constantly brace against the wind to avoid blowing over. There was also a lot of hail, which felt like having your face stung over and over by bees. The headlamps of other climbers glittered like stars on the snowy trail. I was constantly checking the altitude on my watch to calculate the remaining elevation gain because until then I wasn't sure if we would make it. Never give up on your goals even if it doesn't look true. At 4 am, the colors started changing on the Tibet side, which seemed like a magic show. At around 5 am, I reached the place called South Summit, which is a false summit just 60 to 90 minutes below the top. When I was there, I realized that I am going to make it and my eyes were wet. But you can't really cry up there because the tears would freeze. I ignored all the dead bodies on my way up because it can play with your brain and you don't want to end up like them. Finally, at 6:20 am, I reached the summit. I felt so grateful. I was happy not for myself but for everyone else who believed in me and even those who didn't because that is what inspired me to push my limits. But I also knew that it's only half the job done. 90% of the fatalities and accidents happen while coming down. Reaching home is what really mattered. I realized summit is just a part of the journey, not the destination or the ultimate goal. While coming down, I slipped and fell on a dead man hanging off the cliff towards an 8,000 feet drop. As I got up, I told myself, if I die up here, my mom's gonna kill me. This was no small effort, rather a hard fought climb. Despite the many challenges faced this season, we remained patient, persistent, and vigilant. May 23rd, 2021 is a day I will remember vividly, a reminder of what is possible when you remain committed, work hard, suffer a little, and put forth a great effort. But I promise you, plenty of better, stronger, much more deserving climbers than I am didn't make it to the top that night. And people who make it to the top are no better than the people who turned around just short of the summit. Because the summit isn't important. What's important is the journey and the lessons from it and how you use them to be better and stronger on the next mountain. While accomplishing inaccessible jungles and high mountains, when you conquer the last peak, when you realize that there is no difference between you and the rigidness of those mountains that you have climbed, when you will bear the first storm of snow on your forehead and you will not tremble, is when you will realize there is no difference between winning everything and not losing hope till the end. Success is not a destination, it is a journey. And when you realize that, you will find success at every stage in your life. Success is to constantly keep knocking on doors and being absolutely stubborn in your head that you won't give up until one of them opens up for you. We can all learn to program our brains to create meaningful opportunities in the future. And to call it simple, I call it finding your Everest. Try to find what you truly believe in and which will give you meaning in your life. Start and keep doing. Discipline your will to suffer. Pursue your meaningful mission until you accomplish what you set out to do. No matter what it takes, no matter how long it takes. And I know I did my absolute best when I stood on the top of Mount Everest, but there are many more mountains to climb. And I know that going forward, I have to be even better. So, growth mindset is a great idea to build grit. Climb your metaphorical Everest. It can be running that marathon, getting that degree, starting a business. There are a lot of Everest out there. People will say, it can't be done. Who do you think you are? And life will be hard. But every single day, you will have a choice. Will you follow your dreams all the way through? I'm so glad I followed them all the way through, that I honored the vow I made to myself. So coming back to the original question, can you climb Everest? If an 82-year-old guy has done it, if a visually impaired person has done it, if a double amputee can do it, and just another common man like me can do it, then anyone can. But are you ready to put in the work? Because consistency is the key. It's about the journey, not the destination.